Stugatz here for ZipRecruiter. Does your business have any New Year's resolutions? Here's an important one every business should consider. Make your hiring process more efficient and effective. This year, let ZipRecruiter help. No one has done a better job of transforming how you find the right talent than they have. ZipRecruiter posts your job to over 100 of the web's leading job boards with just one click. Then, ZipRecruiter actively looks for the most qualified candidates and invites them to apply. They even review every application to identify the top candidates, so you never miss a great match. That's why ZipRecruiter is different. Unlike other hiring sites, ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on the right candidates finding you. It finds them. No wonder 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by businesses of all sizes and industries to find the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now, our listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. One more time. Try it for free. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/Dan.
This is the worst of the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz podcast.
There is so much going on this radio show. I don't know where to start. I mean, the shipping container they're wearing hospital masks. They're essentially wearing hazmat suits. Everyone's sick. Mike Ryan's out with the flu. Le Batard's out with the flu. I feel like I have the flu. Everyone's protecting themselves from getting the flu except for Mina. I am hopped up on all kinds of medication right now. I have no idea where this show is going to go. I mean, since we left yesterday, I got a flu shot that made me feel sicker. I've taken Tamiflu this morning. I have taken Afrin this morning. I've done everything I can to at least sound presentable on the radio for the next 3 hours. Luckily, Mina's here, though, to bail us out.
They tried to get me. Billy came in earlier with those surgical masks and tried to get me to wear one, and I gave him a bit of a look because I'm an Asian woman. I can't wear one of those masks on television. Like, you know, I like to let the racists at least make up their own jokes. I don't like to give it to them and serve up the alley-oop, the racist alley-oop.
Just hand them one, right?
I'm not going to give away that one.
I mean, I probably should have thought that through a little more. I'm just trying to make sure no one else gets sick because we're very low-staffed right now.
Yes.
Billy's post-race. He didn't even think of that. Sitting in your spot's always so weird.
It is weird, right? Is this the... Well, you and I have done the show alone before, so you've sat in that seat at least once. Have you ever done it with just Dan? Have you ever just done the show with Dan?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
Right.
We did it 2 days.
You and I did it 2 days, correct. Yeah. So there's a lot to get into. Everyone operating, first off, we're all under the weather. I think just about all of us are operating on very little sleep. And there's a reason for that. Dan Le Batard, whom I love, and I think that he loves me. I'm not certain. Put it on the poll, Bill. Does Dan love Stugatz? Yes or no? Roy, you got something over there?
Yeah, my wife thinks I had the flu last week.
Oh, God.
You definitely did not have the flu last week. You were perfectly fine. You would know if you had the flu last week.
Well, no, I'm going by what my wife told me, Bill.
Wouldn't you know? Like,
yes,
don't you have
I don't feel like...
baby Greg? Wouldn't you want to keep baby Greg from getting sick?
Yeah.
I blame you for this, Stugatz.
Why?
Baby Greg.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, you chose Dan to be the godfather to Greg and not me, and I'm upset about it. But yes, I mean...
How is Greg?
Greg is fine.
Roy, you don't think you have the flu. Like, there's no thinking. You either have the flu or you don't.
Roy doesn't even think. His wife thinks he had the flu.
Right.
Yeah.
Put it on the poll. If you have the flu, do you know it?
I don't feel like I have the flu.
Well, last week she's saying you had the flu.
I don't know why. I had a migraine all last week. I sounded congested last week. She automatically thought that I had the flu. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
I want to put one on the poll. Is Stugatz, does he actually have the flu, or is he just trying to look tough? Like, make a big deal out of it so you can complain about it, but then you can brag about how you power through. Like, this is your flu game.
Totally fair question. I will tell you that I do not know if I have the flu. I have done everything possible to prevent myself from getting the flu. I took the flu shot, which the doctor says takes 7 to 10 days to kick in, and then I doubled down with some Tamiflu. So I took one this morning, and I'll take a second one this evening. I've doubled down, and I have Afrin because I was really stuffed up this morning, and because Levitar doesn't know how technology works and has no idea who he's texting inside a group text. All of us, the people who actually had to work today, have been up. Billy, what time have you been up since?
I woke up 3 or 4 times because of my phone at 3, 4, and I think like 4:30 or 5.
Fat Chris?
Well, it started at 1 a.m.
Right,
and
yes.
Then, I think 3, 4, 5:30.
I know Allison's been up since like 1, right? Allison, have you slept?
Allison's part of the problem, by the way, because Dan's original text, I think, was at 1, and then Allison decided to respond at 4 a.m., which set off like a chain reaction of texts waking everybody up.
Yes.
It's not a fair question because I don't sleep, number one. Number two, everybody in this whole scenario should never have their phone on. It always should be on silent. So if you keep your phone on, that's on you.
Right. Well, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And last night happened to be one of the nights that I didn't, but I'm not expecting to get text after text after text. I can handle one, but 50 of them starting at 1:10 a.m. is not good.
Yeah, the other issue with Dan, which we talked, I'm so glad we have this chance to air out all of our issues with Dan, is he has like, it's not different phone numbers, but he has like 5 different accounts that he texts from.
Right.
Like there's the email out, and it's so confusing, and I don't like it. I can't be the only one who's weirdly bothered by it.
No, we all are.
If you get a text from his email, then just know he has no idea who he's sending that to.
Here's the problem, right? Like Guillermo, we established this last week. Nothing is sunk. His phone is not sunk with his iPad. It's not sunk with his computer.
Wait.
What?
Sunk?
I don't know.
It's synced. It's
synced.
synced.
Are you
It's not
using-
synced. I'm sorry. Listen, I'm hopped up on meds.
That's a
You're
fine.
using sunk as the past tense of sync.
That was bad.
That's
All right,
fine.
I'll pay a fine. I'll pay a fine for that. I'm hopped up. Listen.
No fines today. No
blaming the
fines
meds.
today.
No fines
Oh, a
today?
fine-free day.
No fines today.
I am blaming it on the meds. Yes.
I don't know. Sunk is
You
pretty
can't let
egregious.
him get
Yes.
away with this.
The last 15 years of mistakes. I've been on medication.
I think the biggest problem with him having so many accounts is like if you actually need to reach him, you don't know how to
Yes,
reach him.
exactly. Like I'm worried if I send one, it's just going to go into the other and never reach him. Like what if I have to send him something important?
You'll get a text from his email address, right?
Yes.
And then you'll respond to it, and he won't respond for like a day or two.
Yes.
Because he either went away and he doesn't have anything sunk.
At like 2 a.m.
Yes.
This is so validating because I thought it was just me.
No, it's all of us. Roy, what time did you wake up this morning?
I was in the group text because I have an Android and his text doesn't always reach me.
Gotcha. What time did Greg wake up this morning?
She
Gotcha.
yeah. Greg woke up around 2:30, 3:30,
Right.
4 o'clock,
Yes.
Wow.
4:30.
All right.
Did
And 5.
did he also get text from Dan? Is that what?
No, because Greg doesn't have a phone yet.
Mina, what time were you up? I think your first text came in at around 4:05 a.m.
No, it was about 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
About 5. You were annoyed though, right? Like,
I mean,
A little bit.
sure.
Yeah.
I like Allison do the crazy technological trick of keeping my phone on silent while I sleep.
Right.
So it wasn't that bad.
all right.
I want to empathize with you though.
You're not.
I mostly just wanted to complain about the multiple accounts thing.
Yeah, it's annoying. It is.
Okay.
You know what I don't get? Why they haven't figured this out, like, in terms of technology? You know how you can schedule, like, a tweet? Like, I want this tweet to go out at, like, 6:05 p.m. or whatever?
Right.
Why can't you do that with text? Like, why can't I say, I'm feeling sick, it's 3 a.m, I'm gonna send this to my boss, it can get there at 6 a.m.?
You can with an Android.
How about that?
Oh.
Wow. I had no idea you could do that with Twitter, to be honest with you. You could set a time to send out a tweet.
Yeah, like, that's how...
What if your feelings or the mood or something changes and you don't want to send it out?
I don't know. I feel like you would schedule that tweet and then something like some major politician's
Right.
going to die and Stu Guys is going to be like,
Yes.
I mean,
listen
like,
to the podcast.
people do it with, like, articles and stuff. Like, that's how our videos go out. Like, Lorenzo's not at the studio sending out videos at 11 o'clock on a Sunday night. Like,
Right.
he has that which is a strange time for those to go out anyways, Lorenzo.
We will talk sports today, by the way, I promise you. Adrian Wojnarowski going to join us at 11. We have a movie segment we're going to do with Mina because we found out recently that Mina is a movie liar. She likes to say that she saw a movie because she wants to blend in with the crowd and be a part of the conversation. Am I representing that accurately or?
No, I've seen all these movies.
Oh, okay.
I've seen a lot.
Right.
Probably more than most people.
It started with Point Break. I mean, we did multiple shows with Mina about the movie Point Break, a movie that we thought, because she seemed very into it, that she had seen a bunch of times, and then she revealed to us that she had never seen it.
It's classic.
So we'll give her a list of movies, and she will describe the movies for us, and we will decide together whether or not she's actually seen the movie. I think we'll have Adnan on for that segment. We're going to get Schefter on to talk hoops. And Chris Sims will join us at 12:30. Before we get to the Sports Center here, Guillermo, what happened with there was a LeBron James take that Liam, who runs the show up in Bristol, was looking for from you. What happened there? Explain to the audience. Explain to me, Mina, and the audience what happened with this LeBron James thing.
Well, it wasn't for me. So this is what happened. Last week on Friday, I think it was, before the show, me and Mike were messing around saying like, oh, this is the typical thing that happens with LeBron every year. So let's make a list of things that are going to happen with LeBron and the Cavs, and we're going to write it down. And then when they happen, we'll reveal to the world this list that we predicted on Friday. So we started writing down things like LeBron's going to go on his annual Miami vacation. There's going to be whispers about Ty Lue. LeBron's going to then start speaking out on different things, social issues, his team, and Dan's going to fall for it again and say, oh, he finally found his voice. Not, that he's distracting everyone because he's insecure because the Cavs are not good.
Right.
So we started talking about these things. And then yesterday after the show, Liam reached out to us and he's like, hey, Billy, can you do me a favor? Can you send me that LeBron take that Stu Gatz had on Friday? Because we want to kind of circulate that.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'm like, oh, well, which take is he talking about? So I asked him a couple more things. And then he's like, oh, where he's predicting all these things. And I'm like, yeah, like that was actually me that said that. And he's like, oh, okay, well, we don't need that anymore. And then that was the end of that.
So the bad news for you is they don't care about your takes. The good news for me is they're starting to care about my takes.
Yeah, you've turned the corner.
Do me a favor. Transcribe exactly what it is you said on Friday. Hand it to me. I will put my voice behind it, and we'll send it to Liam, and he can distribute it however he wants to. Is that fair?
Yeah. Well, that's not helping me in any way.
It's not helping you at all, but it's helping me, and then you can just be mad at me. It'll be fun for the show. Can we do this? Transcribe the exact wording of your take. Can we do it?
Sure.
All right, thanks.
Hi, this is Papi. Do you know that my TV show Highly Questionable is not only on ESPN2 every day at 4:30 Eastern, it is also available as a podcast. You can listen or subscribe to the Highly Questionable podcast on ESPN app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Don Le Batard.
Tom Ricketts is saying that the Cubs will not allow Sammy Sosa back into that organization for anything moving forward until he comes clean. And what I find absurd about that, and what a hypocrite this guy is that family made hundreds of millions of dollars off the name Sammy Sosa. By the way, never tested positive for steroid use. And if he was using steroids, which we all assume that he was, my guess is if he was using it, the Ricketts family had an inkling that was going on in their own clubhouse. And for him to come out many, many years later and say Sammy Sosa must come clean for us to allow him back into our prestigious organization, our club, get out of here with that.
Stugats.
Yeah, Ricketts didn't make money off Sammy Sosa. He won the bid in 2009. This was post-Sammy Sosa.
Well, that ruins my argument.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
Mina, wait for the microphone to turn on. It's not on yet. That blue light suggests that it's on. I feel terrible. You want me to do the billboards?
Catch the Guts and Mike Golick Jr. every Sunday for weekend observations from 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Roy, do you have that? No, we're all playing with pain today. Everyone's out of it, okay? We've been up since 3 in the morning. No one knows. No one knows what's going on down here. I'm serious. I am operating on like 2 hours of sleep right now with what I think is the flu. Do you have that rejoin again that you just played? I did this yesterday. I mean, I want you to hear this because you and I have worked with you on the art of the hot take. And yesterday I delivered a great hot take, but I had the wrong information. Let's play that again for the audience.
Don Le Batard.
Tom Ricketts is saying that the Cubs will not allow Sammy Sosa back into that organization for anything moving forward until he comes clean. And what I find absurd about that, and what a hypocrite this guy is that family made hundreds of millions of dollars off the name Sammy Sosa. By the way, never tested positive for steroid use. And if he was using steroids, which we all assume that he was, my guess is if he was using it, the Ricketts family had an inkling that was going on in their own clubhouse. And for him to come out many, many years later and say Sammy Sosa must come clean for us to allow him back into our prestigious organization, our club, get out of here with that.
Stugats.
Yeah, Ricketts didn't make money off Sammy Sosa. He won the bid in 2009. This was post-Sammy Sosa.
Well, that ruins my argument. Yeah, certainly does. I was rattled after that, man.
Were you? I mean, that's what happened to you all the time.
Bill, what was my... That doesn't happen to me all the time. Sunk happens to me all the time. That does not happen to me all the time. Where did I err there? Besides having the wrong information, I needed to pivot there at the end instead of admitting that I was wrong.
Yeah, your fatal flaw was admitting defeat because you can easily spin out of that.
How could it? Wait, okay, pause. How could you spin? If you had to do it all over again, how would you spin out of it instead of admitting you were wrong?
I could have said, I got the years wrong on Ricketts actually owning the team, but he's been a Cubs fan his entire life, and I'm certain he was in the stands rooting for Sammy Sosa, spending money on Sammy Sosa, buying Sammy Sosa jerseys for his entire family, and now we won't welcome the guy back into his own organization that he bought. What a hypocrite. Cheered for him, but now won't allow him back into his organization. Now that I have the facts, it's pretty good. Give it to Liam, see if he wants to distribute that take.
I saw on Sunday that you gave the same take on your weekend observation show.
Sure did.
No one corrected you.
Nope.
Wait, even though you knew you had made a mistake, you repeated that take.
I didn't know I made a mistake on Sunday morning.
Oh.
My producer, Mikey A and Mikey C, they did not correct me. Mikey C, I don't expect him to correct me. He's outside smoking cigarettes while I do the show.
He just admitted to that to us. He was not going to correct you.
Well, he didn't know, okay? And he was out by a dumpster smoking a cigarette. And not a single... I didn't check Twitter that day, so maybe someone did correct me. I wasn't checking Twitter.
I was channeling you on First Take.
Yes.
I don't want to offend you by talking about my First Take appearance. I can see a little bit of tension.
Well, I'm a little upset.
I mean, I know.
All you guys come down here, you do the show, you do HQ with Dan, and then you're on to, First Take.
I was like the last choice,
yes.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, I was saying, like, one of these quarterbacks, Case Keenum, Nick Foles, Blake Bortles, is going to end up in a place that Phillip Rivers has never been, and that's what happens down here, kind of. You guys... You guys end up at places that I've never been, places I want to go to. Phillip Rivers wants to go to a Super Bowl. I would love to be on Around the Horn just once.
You're Phillip Rivers in this analogy.
Yeah.
Am I Case Keenum?
No, you're Case Keenum.
Let's take this to the natural conclusion.
Okay, your Case.
Dominique's Nick Foles. We're getting to go to the championship.
Right.
Even though Phillip Rivers, the superior, more lovable, perhaps, quarterback, is just on a team that's bringing him down, not giving it any respect. That's where we're going with this?
Yeah.
That feels fair. So
thank you.
Anyway, so I was on the show, and you can never admit you were wrong, which I learned pretty quickly because that's blood in the water.
Yes.
And two, if you make a mistake, you have to spin it like you just did.
Yep.
So at one point, I made a number of mistakes, but at one point I said, we were talking about Minneapolis, the Vikings, and I think Dominique was talking about how good the Eagles are, and he was saying the other teams, they're not ready to come play in Philadelphia in that cold weather like the Rams and the Saints. And I screamed, what about the Vikings? And then Dominique jumped on it and said, well, they play in a dome. And I said, duh, but they live outside. They're used to playing outside. In years past, you don't think any of them were on the team many years ago?
Some of them.
Why are you so much recency bias, Dominique?
Listen to me. I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
I mean, it wasn't exact. You didn't save it exactly, but I am proud of the effort.
The worst one, and this is the one I was going to send to you, but I decided to tell you about it. So the next day, we did 2 days. The night before was trying to turn up the heat on my takes, and I was thinking, what would Stugat say? How would he amp this up? I almost called you, but
you should have.
I didn't want to bother you.
Right.
And I knew it would be a little awkward because of the aforementioned Rivers-Keenum dynamic.
Right.
So...
I just made myself Phillip Rivers, which is absurd, by the way. I'm sorry about that. Go ahead.
No, I mean, you could have made yourself Brady or something. Maybe you went with Rivers.
Well, I was just pointing out that Phillip Rivers has never been to a Super Bowl, and these guys, it was a terrible, terrible analogy.
Is First Take the Super Bowl?
For me, it is, yes. It's everything.
The most important thing, Mina, by the way, when you have a wrong take, it's like filibustering, like in Congress. Just don't stop talking, and you can talk your way out of anything.
All right.
Once you stop talking, you've admitted defeat, and they can correct you. If you just keep talking in circles, eventually you'll bring it around, and you'll correct your problem, and no one can correct you.
Yes.
Interesting. So here's what happened. The question was, James Harden had just complained about some fouls the night before, and it was like, is he right or wrong, And I came up with this analogy in the morning where I was like, oh, James Harden complaining about fouls. that's like a flower complaining about the rain. So I'm like gearing up, and you can visibly see me kind of going like this as I'm like getting ready to deliver my take on screen as Dominique's talking, almost like running in place. And then I scream, James Farton!
Luckily, we have the sound.
Oh, no!
You brought up LeBron because the point I was making about LeBron was that he's been officiated against unfairly his entire career. James Harden complaining about fouls. That's like a flower complaining about the rain. That is your life force, James Farden. Harden.
Roy, can you isolate just the Farden and then the correction? I just want to hear that. Just that isolated, that little piece of sound right there. Can you do that for us? It's putting a lot on you, I know. Mike's not here. He's sick. Everyone's got the flu down here, okay? Those hospital masks protecting you guys. Here is Mina Kime saying Farden and then correcting it.
James Farden. Fouls. Harden.
I was so close.
But yet so far.
Here comes the money.
All right, coming up next, some NFL talk. Mina thinks this has been the greatest playoffs of all time. She said that to me. Everyone's complaining about Bortles, Keenum, Foles, and Brady, and I'm not even certain you're wrong on this. Mina thinks this has been the most exciting playoffs of all time.
Just keep talking it out and you'll be right.
Exactly right.
Dan Le Batard.
From the window
Stugats.
to the wall.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Get the feeling of being rewarded with gold status at Shell with the Fuel Rewards program. Download the Fuel Rewards app.
What's the matter? What happened? What's the matter?
I can't say the word fuel.
Wow, there's a word I can say that you can't? Fuel.
Join and start saving 5 cents a gallon today. And now, your SportsCenter update. Christian Yelich's agent said that his relationship with the Miami Marlins is irretrievably broken, and it would be in the best interest of both parties if the Marlins trade him before the start of spring training. Drew Brees says he doesn't plan on testing the free agent market this year or waiting until the start of a new league year on March 14th to sign a new contract with the Saints. And finally, Beach Boys songwriter Brian Wilson once received an F on a high school music composition, which eventually turned out to be the band's first single, Surfin', and earned him millions of dollars. The current principal at his former high school invited him back over the weekend and officially changed that grade from an F to an A. I hope he said no. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Why do you hope he say no? Can you read that again real quick? I want to hear that again.
Beach Boys songwriter Brian Wilson once received an F on a high school music composition, which eventually turned out to be the band's first single, Surfin', and earned him millions of dollars. The current principal at his former high school invited him back over the weekend and officially changed that grade from an F to an A. Because, ride with me from the beginning or you're out. That's how I feel.
Fat Chris, what are you laughing at? That I didn't hear the story the first time?
Well, you said, why do you think he say no?
Right. Yeah, well, that's
We're
it.
on a roll today.
I mean, listen, no, this is it. I mean, this is what you get, okay? When we're all operating on 2 hours of sleep.
Listen.
Everyone's sick, and this is what you get. Sorry. We're going to have fun, though. I mean, we got, Woj coming up at 11. But then we'll do the movie segment at 11:30, and Adam Schefter's going to join us to talk hoops at noon, and then Chris Sims at 12:30. We're going to have some fun here today. What happened there, Mina?
Yeah, what? I don't understand. Why did you guys laugh?
You know we're on TV, right?
Yeah, I do. I meant it. We're going to have fun. I'm into the Chris Paul story, man. Everyone's blaming Trevor Ariza now. Please, it's Chris Paul's fault.
Well, I saw Woj's tweet. We can ask, why is everybody laughing? What are you laughing at?
Because I'm in such a foul mood right now, and I feel so bad, and I've slept for 2 hours that I made a face that I probably should not have made on national TV when I said, we're going to have fun. Woj is joining us at 11.
Like, we're going to have fun.
I was going for
I saw Woj's tweet yesterday about the Chris Paul thing. Well, he originally, I think, did the original tweets about the locker room, the tunnel. And he had one yesterday that said it was Ariza was the guy, what is happening? What is going on?
They're still laughing at my joke.
Well, Allison also said that you've never been healthier. There's some question here as to how sick you are and whether you actually saw these texts in the morning that you're claiming kept you awake.
Every single one of them. I've committed them to memory.
Has he ever faked illness before to garner sympathy from the listeners and his colleagues?
Fakes everything.
Yeah.
He's probably faked it for a fantasy draft.
By a show of hands, who in there actually thinks he's sick?
I mean, that doesn't help on radio, so we should probably say.
Roy, you think I'm sick?
No.
Bill, you think I'm sick?
You have a little something, maybe.
Fat Chris, you think I'm sick?
No.
I don't need to ask Allison.
I do believe that you woke up in the middle of the night because you were steaming about that when you
I was
came
mad.
back.
What do you
Steaming
mean?
mad.
You guys want to see the text I sent Mike Ryan for not taking me off the group text? Would you like to see him?
What time was that at?
You
I'll tell you right now. Hold on. Oh, now I got to do the code on my phone, and everyone already saw it once because I unlocked it on the.
Just do it under the desk. Because here's the thing: he's complaining about these texts waking him up, but he didn't respond to that chain until like 7 a.m.
Yeah, and it was kind of a weird text. Actually, I was a little confused. Sorry, we have like 300. Okay, he wrote. This is the first one I got from him. I think it was about 7. I'm on this group text. I know. Feel better.
Yes, that was
Wait,
me.
This is incredible.
Yeah, lashing out.
Poor Mina.
Yep.
This text convo has had her up since 4 a.m.
That was a passive-aggressive way of saying, poor me, I've been up since 4 a.m.
Well, yeah, you've done a couple where you're like pretending to care about others, like the poor Mina, she's awake, and then later on we had another group text where like, guys, let Mike sleep. Yeah. Where it's like,
Yeah, I saw that one too, and I didn't understand his because I didn't complain about. Well,
Mike was on the group text, and he's sitting there telling you guys that he's not feeling well. He can't make it in today. He apologizes, and we're all badgering him with texts.
I think you wrote another one to me and Allison that said, let Mike sleep.
I did.
So all of your texts are ostensibly about being concerned about others waking up too early or not getting enough sleep, but no one else is complaining. You're the only person who's really upset.
Yeah.
And sending those well after everyone was awake texting.
I wrote, Mike, 3 things. I'm fine with you not coming in. I don't feel well either. But I should drive 3 hours to do it? Someone could have told me all of this at 7:15. That's all. I mean, that's fair. Roy, you're shaking your head. Yes, that's fair. You guys are questioning whether or not I saw these texts.
No, you saw them, but at 7 when you woke up.
You guys can't see his phone, but the text he just read, there's a space in between them. It's like in the staccato way he does his weekend observations, but angry.
Yes, right. I listed it. 1, 2, 3. Look, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, he
staccato. Yeah.
Enumerated them as well.
Yes, staccato. Why do you think this has been the clunky transition to sports? Because we're on ESPN Radio. Why do you think this has been the most entertaining NFL playoffs of all time? Because a lot of people are complaining about it because of the quarterbacks we have in the Final Four this Sunday.
I mean, I didn't say all time. You said that before.
Okay.
You
You said one of the most exciting.
I think so. Well, last year there were all blowouts, right? I just pulled it up. I mean, the first weekend I think had the most blowouts, the wildcard weekend of any wildcard weekend in NFL history. The next weekend we had that boring Pittsburgh-Kansas City game. New England blew out Houston. Atlanta blew out Seattle. And then there was one good game, which was the Packers-Cowboys that ended with the great Rodgers throw. Then in the championship round, Atlanta blew out Green Bay. New England basically blew out the Steelers. I mean, we've had so many close, exciting games. I feel like this is, I'm sure there's a statistic I could pull up for this very easily, but I feel like this is the closest, most exciting series of games we've had in years.
Are you not bothered by the quarterbacks that are remaining here of the 4 teams left?
No, not really. I mean,
do you not care about that? Because I love, like, for big games.
Are you a quarterback guy?
Well, for big games, I'd like to see Drew Brees versus Aaron Rodgers, or something. Not Case Keenum and Nick Foles is what I'm trying to say. And it seems Case Keenum's had a really good year, and Nick Foles. And once upon a time, he started for the Eagles and had a very, very good season. But when I I don't want George Mason making it to the Final Four. I want it to be Kentucky and Duke and Kansas and North Carolina. I want big brands in the biggest games. I'd rather see Breeze, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger. I was actually upset that Jacksonville won because I wanted to see.
Really?
I know Jacksonville's very good, very talented. I wanted to see Roethlisberger versus Brady again.
I think I actually tweeted this during the game. I have no interest in seeing Brady pick apart this defense because when I was watching the Steelers-Jags games about halfway through, I realized Patriots are going to kill the Steelers team yet again. They're going to do their little underneath zone thing, and Gronk's going to destroy them, and it's going to be boring because we've seen over and over and over the only way you can beat Tom Brady is to put him on his back, and you rush 4 so that you can actually cover some of their, the tight ends, the wide receivers. So I really wanted Jacksonville to win because I don't want, and it's not even that I hate New England like most of America does correctly, but I just wanted a competitive championship. And I think do you not agree that Jacksonville versus New England is a much more competitive game than it would have been if it was the Steelers?
I mean, that Steelers-Patriots game during the regular season was pretty competitive, pretty exciting.
The defense without Ryan Shazier, though.
No, I understand that, but here's my concern with the Patriots at Jacksonville. It could be a very entertaining game, or it could be Patriots up 45-10 at halftime.
Yeah,
it could be that,
40. I don't know. I was reading. I can't remember.
I mean, they just gave up 40 to the Steelers.
It was a little fluky.
I know.
I mean, the Patriots don't have an Antonio Brown who's going to make those insane contested catches. Also, but I was reading a piece. I can't remember who the analyst was about the Jags, why they're the worst nightmare matchup for the Patriots out of that conference.
Right.
And they made a bunch of points. Like I was just saying, they can rush 4, they can get pressure, they can put Brady on his back. And one of the points, which I absolutely loved, was this offense is so dumb that Bill Belichick has no advantage in trying to figure it out.
Right.
And I just love the idea of Bill Belichick watching tape of Blake Bortles, being forced to watch tape of the Jacksonville offense, trying to game plan for it, and just having no idea, like being almost paralyzed by the stupidity of it.
Sure. Do you think he watches Bortles or just says, hey, stop Fournette?
I mean, the thing, but I probably, right, the whole thing, that's the thing with the Patriots, right, they take out the
well, they did it last week with Henry, right?
I think
he's going to force Blake Bortles to beat him on the road.
He's going to force.
Go ahead, Bortles. If you can beat us on the road, you deserve to go to the Super Bowl. Go ahead, beat us.
I think Bortles can do it. I mean, with Bortles, you get the variance, right?
Yeah. I mean, you're the only one on this planet who thinks Blake Bortles can do it.
Time for Dan to reluctantly take part in something Stugatz couldn't be happier doing.
I got it, man. Do you think Blake Bortles thinks Blake Bortles can do it? Honestly.
Yes.
Probably, right?
I do. He seems confident.
I think you're right.
Catch more of the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz, 10 to 1 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPNU.
Hi, everyone. Stugatz here. Support for the Dan Le Batard Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you are confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, and your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you the same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you are getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Stugatz. That's rocketmortgage.com/Stugatz, STUGOTZ. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Don Le Batard.
So he was on Wingo and Golic, and I'm told this is Golic and Wingo. Excuse me. Whoa,
that's a fun.
Wow.
Yep.
No, that's not a fine.
Wow. What do you mean?
No, what? That's not. That's not the name of the show.
That's not the name of the show.
A fine.
They only had 8 million ads.
$2, 2 names wrong, right? No, and be careful on tone. That's all I'm saying. $2, fork it up.
Stugatz.
You want me to front you?
No, thank you.
Good, because I don't have any money on me.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Drivers who switch to Progressive can save an average of $620. Guests on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance line. And now, for your SportsCenter update. Plans to show a brief video tribute to Isaiah Thomas during the Cavs-Celtics game have been scrapped, and the night will be entirely dedicated to Paul Pierce.
Wow.
Come on. An MRI performed on J.J. Redick revealed bone edema and a small crack at his left leg. Redick is out and will be reevaluated in 10 to 14 days. And finally, NBA on TNT analyst Charles Barkley during a broadcast expressed his belief that vegetarians don't exist. There's no such thing as a vegetarian. Nobody doesn't like meat, Ernie. I mean, it's not the same thing. Like, they could just not like it, but, yeah. Wendy's 4 for $4 is better than ever. Now you have 8 different sandwich options along with nuggets, a small fry, and a small drink, all for just $4. Pick from favorites like the Double Stack, the Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, Spicy Chicken Go Wrap, and many more. Available at participating Wendy's for a limited time. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
What are you guys laughing at? The commentary during the SportsCenters? Because I love it. I don't want her to stop. I love it.
Am I not allowed to do that?
No, you can do that because he does it all the time.
Yes, I do. And Paul Pierce should be ashamed of himself. Seriously.
Shamed.
I mean, what a joke.
Disgusting.
I mean, he can't have a little portion of his nights.
Get over yourself.
Thank you. I mean, honestly, think about this. Paul Pierce, who's getting his jersey retired, can't give up a minute and a half, 90 seconds of his night so they can put a video tribute up for a guy who went through an incredible playoff run last year after the death of his sister. Are you kidding me?
Who do you think you are?
Thank you.
Why don't they just do this for him on another night? Like
this is the last
it's
night.
The only night that they're going to be in Boston.
They had 2 trips to Boston. Isaiah didn't play in the first one.
No. I'm saying Paul Pierce.
That was
he's going.
Yes.
Where's he
Yes.
going?
Yes.
They have all the leverage. Paul Pierce, we'll retire your jersey whenever we feel like it.
Right.
That was my
Celtics.
question.
In fact, Celtics, you're right. It should be Isaiah Thomas's night, okay, the entire night. And a minute, they could put up a Paul Pierce tribute and put the jersey up. Okay,
Question.
1 minute. He gets 1 minute.
I have a question about this. Do you think with Isaiah Thomas, who I love, and I'm also inclined to defend in every situation, in part because I was very inspired and emotional about the playoffs and everything that happened, yada yada. But do you think if he wasn't tiny, we would be defending him in situations like this? Like if he was a normal sized dude. It's like how Bartolo Colon, everyone just likes him because he's fat.
Right. No, it's a good question. Should we throw that one at Woj? Is Woj there?
I'm here, guys.
Yep. Did you hear me?
Sitting that one out.
Oh, you're sitting that.
Sorry you had to hear that.
Woj, I didn't think you were answering it. I am joking. Woj, do us a favor here. Your reporting is always excellent. You're the best in the business. It's been particularly great during this Clippers and Rockets fight after the game. But for those, I think most people who are listening right now know the story, or at least most of the story of what happened after that game. But, Woj, can you take us back and explain to the audience how we arrived at a point where Blake Griffin and Chris Paul, Rockets, Clippers, seemingly don't get along?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you look at the years in L.A. and whatever combination of players they had, whether it was pre-Austin Rivers arriving, post-Austin Rivers, while he was there, the mix never worked. And Chris Paul and Blake Griffin were never aligned. And near the end, I think there was a lot of tension between Doc Rivers and Chris Paul and Austin Rivers and Chris Paul. And I just think you saw all of that emotion play out in Chris Paul's return to Staples the other night. And there's just, there was no question. Great. To me, Blake Griffin was almost like, he got a piece of almost everybody on the court that night, including Mike D'Antoni, the Rockets coach. It was almost like the Hanson brothers in Slapshot, where they took the stick and just went by the boards with it.
Yes.
That was Blake the other night in a lot of ways. And then it spilled over post game, and Blake got into it with Trevor Ariza at the end of the game. They were both ejected, and then Austin Rivers was chirping from the bench where he's been out injured, was not playing. He was going at it with Trevor Ariza. And then after the game, Trevor kind of led the way from the Rockets locker room over to the Clippers locker room. And they, he and a few of the other Rockets walked in the door.
All right. So that's my favorite part of this story, Woj. I think undeniably the secret tunnel, Clint Capella, like that. It's just hilarious on one level. Was Clint Capella actually there as a diversion? Or is that just NBA Twitter having fun with the story?
Yeah, there was no diversion, and there was no secret tunnel. There's just a hallway. There's just a corridor there. There were just some Rockets lingering in the hallway there. Listen, nobody was going to fight, and I made that clear when I reported it initially. And there was not going to be a fight. And Trevor Ariza is a really mild-mannered, good guy. And now he was irritated. Well, listen, he got into it with Blake at the end of the game. And then he really got into it with Austin Rivers. And I'm told when he was on his way over to their locker room, he had more Austin than Blake on his mind. But, listen, when they got there and they were able to go in, they went through the door and into the locker room. It wasn't as if they charged across the room, where the Clippers were sitting at their lockers. They stood there. And then, of course, what happens? There's security and staff, and 20 people got between them, and they were out the door. And And that's ultimately what it was. Now, the league's investigating. I think there's a chance there certainly will be fines. I think there's a chance of a suspension because of the league just doesn't want that. They can't have guys after games going to look for each other. And now there's been incidences where guys went looking for a fight, and that's been dealt with. I don't know that these guys were. In fact, I'm very confident these guys weren't looking for a fight. But once you go in that locker room and you're angry, it's not like they were going in there to just see a friend and say hello. That does happen, but I think the league is they're going to deal with it. But I think that incident was sort of on the back end of a day where there were 21 technical fouls in the league. So there's a lot going on that the league, I think, has got to try to get contained right now between the referees and players, and now players and players. You saw last night Aaron Afalo throwing punches in the Orlando, Minnesota game. It's overshadowed the league here in the last few weeks, and you haven't had that happen much in the league where something outside of the basketball in this kind of great run the league's had the last few years. You've got something overshadowing the game right now.
Well, you would agree, though, that secret tunnels and decoys make an already interesting story even more interesting, right? You agree with that?
Well, yeah, if it were true. I just think it was not. This was not something that orchestrated. I think it was just, some frustrated guys after the game. But yeah, I don't think there was I don't have any sense that this was that coordinated of an effort.
Adrian Wojnarowski with us here on ESPN Radio, ESPN NBA insider, best in the business, been joining us for years. Woj, you've been covering the NBA forever. Where does this rank in terms of just like ridiculous stories, bizarre stories? Where does this rank for you in terms of bizarre stories that you've covered in the NBA?
I don't think it ranks up that high. Again,
okay.
there have been fights. I mean, there have been players going to look for other guys in corridors and hallways and parking lots in years past. So this wasn't that. I just think maybe the advent of social media and people having fun with it sometimes accelerates it a little bit and makes it more than it is. I mean, when I reported it initially, the one quote I had from somebody who was a witness in the room said, this was I think to the effect of, this is classic NBA. Nobody was going to fight. But I think what made this unique was it was Chris Paul's return. It was what you already knew. There was a lot of animosity between the Clippers and Chris Paul. And so when something like this happens on the back end, obviously that made it more interesting because everybody was waiting to see what would happen coming back here. This was not it was an acrimonious breakup.
Switching gears a little bit to the East, we saw what Anthony Davis did last night to Boston, what he's been doing, which is spectacular. Yeah. And I think it kind of reminded people of why those Anthony Davis to Boston rumors are so potent, and this belief that if he went there, it might put them over the edge versus Golden State. Is there any realism to that, even during the season or after?
No. I mean, New Orleans has no intention of trading Anthony Davis. Boston's certainly a team like every team in the league would love to have Anthony Davis. Boston's uniquely positioned in that they have draft picks and young players and all the things. If a team was going to trade Anthony Davis, all the things you'd want, but they're not trading Anthony Davis. You saw, I saw a stat last night. I think maybe since Wilt Chamberlain, the first guy, maybe Wilt Chamberlain and Elgin Baylor, to have back-to-back 45 and 15 games, and did it in New York, did it in Boston. And, I spent some time with Anthony about a month ago, and, he wants to make it work in New Orleans. He wants to get into the playoffs, certainly. He's been out for a couple of years now, and they have a great opportunity here to get back in the postseason. They want to re-sign DeMarcus Cousins and have a team here that can be a postseason team. He's under contract for 3 more years. It would be a radical change of direction for that organization to decide to put him out on the market. And I think their focus now and going forward is trying to find ways to put players around him and win, because players like Anthony Davis do not come along and you just don't trade them. It's one thing if he's at the end of his contract and you feel like you're going to lose him in free agency, but they're not anywhere near that yet.
Woj, what do you do if you're the Cavs? Can you envision a scenario where they part way with that Nets pick that they got in the Kyrie Irving trade to help bolster this team. Can you imagine them doing that without LeBron James giving them some sort of long-term commitment?
I think it's unlikely, Stugotz. I think that the only way Cleveland's using that pick is if they can get, a major difference maker, somebody who they think puts them over the top. Now, I'm told it doesn't have to be, it's not a, we need LeBron to commit, then we're going to use it. But it is, I think there's a very short list of players they would use it on. It's the one insurance policy they have if LeBron leaves in free agency to at least help with the rebuild. And when they did the deal for Kyrie Irving with Boston, that pick was by far was the most important thing they got back in that Celtics trade. And they're going to be very careful about how they use it. The kind of player they would use it for may not even become available here between now and the trade deadline.
All right, Woj, we appreciate the time as always. You're always great to our show, and we do appreciate it. So thank you very much. We know you're busy.
I appreciate it, guys. I'll talk to you later.
All right, talk to you soon, Woj.
Dan Le Batard.
Is there anyone, Serge, who refers to you by your full name?
No, I don't think so.
Can you tell the audience what your full name is?
Ibaka, Ngubila, Serge, and Jonas.
Stugotz.
Isn't your full name 10 words? Serge Abulo, Lamu, Sayom?
No, that's not true. That's not my name.
Okay. I'm sorry I made that so awkward for you. Hell of a day we're finishing.
Yeah, it's okay.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Guillermo, let's go. Before we bring on Adnan and play our movie game, what's going on with Marty Smith?
Oh, man. So Marty put up this video of him. It seems like his kids might have a snow day today, so he's outside playing with the kids in the snow.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
what a treat.
For real. Marty Smith is the guy that I would most want to have a snow day with. And I don't like the snow. But if Marty's there and we're like sledding, I would go.
Are you saying guys at ESPN you would most want to have a snow day with?
Well, yeah, so for later on.
Or are you just saying in general?
Oh, in general.
Because if you make it ESPN, it's Marty Smith. It's definitely Marty Smith. He would be the guy.
For outdoor snow day fun.
For indoor snow day fun?
What is, like just watch the movie?
If you want to sit around, have a glass of wine, maybe the fireplace, have someone tell some great stories. I'm thinking Bob Lee.
Yeah.
Bob Lee. But the outdoor snow day is Marty Smith.
I think Tebow might be fun in the snow, too.
Tebow would be great.
Tebow?
Yeah, but I don't know how used to snow he is.
Right, because he's from Florida. Mina would be a disaster.
Yeah, I hate snow. I'm cold in here. You think I'm okay in snow?
Right, exactly.
Adnan would be fun in the snow.
I think he would, and he's on the Shell Pennzoil performance line because we're going to play this movie game. Adnan, person at ESPN, if you had a snow day when you were a kid, go back to your childhood, okay? But you can only use the people who are working at ESPN right now. So the person at ESPN, you're from Canada, you had snow days. The person at ESPN you would most want to have a snow day with.
No-brainers, too. It's going to be my boy, Jesse Palmer, fellow Canadian, grew up in Nepean, Ontario.
Wow.
Jesse's a quarterback. He's got a great arm. He's used to the snow. He can handle the elements. CFL rules will real play. He's the best.
You are good.
Jesse probably makes a mean snowman.
Yeah, he definitely does. Listen, everyone went Marty Smith, and then you come in with Jesse Palmer, and I think you're right.
Marty Smith's not even from a snowy area. I feel like we clowned ourselves here.
No, but I feel like Marty would be so enthused and overwhelmed with the snow and it just happening that it'd be like a childish charm. You know?
When a puppy sees snow for the first time and they prance around.
Like Marty's getting on the sleigh with you. He's not just pushing you on the sleigh. He's jumping on the sleigh with you.
He seems to be the only adult there just pushing around all the neighborhood kids.
Counterpoint, though, he would want to stay outside for too long.
Perhaps.
Yeah, you'd get sick if you played in the snow with Marty.
Right.
Snow, man.
Yeah.
Let's jump in the lake. No, Marty.
I love this.
Marty, that lake is frozen. All right, so Adnan, do you know what we're doing here? Do you understand the game that we're playing here? Do you want me to explain it to you? I'll have to explain it to the audience anyway, so I might as well explain it to you.
Yes, explain. I know Mina lies about seeing movies to be part of conversation, which I don't think is that's not a bad trait necessarily, by the way, Mina. I think that, listen, you want to be a part of the conversation, that's cool. But yeah, go ahead, Stu, explain it for everybody.
Never done it, but yeah.
So Mike Ryan and I were talking about Point Break. Dan was out, and Mina was jumping into the conversation like she had seen Point Break as many times as Mike and I had seen Point Break and loved it the same way that Mike and I loved that movie. So, and then she revealed to us a couple of weeks later that she had never seen the movie. And she's a movie liar. So from there, Adnan, we played a game. We gave Mina a list of movies, and she gave us some details about the movie, and we had to decide whether or not she has actually seen the movie. And it was
I love it.
It was a great segment, but we have stepped it up a notch because you are a movie expert. Promote the podcast. Go ahead.
Thank you, buddy. Latest Cinephile debuted today, and your guy, Tracy Letts from Lady Bird. He plays the father in Lady Bird. Interview with him. He's also in The Post, so he tells stories about Spielberg, Tom Hanks, Meryl Streep, but of course, Saoirse Ronan, Greta Gerwig, Lady Bird, what that movie's all about. So, yeah, Cinephile, ESPN app, iTunes.
Yep.
Thank you, Stu.
Yep. He really crushed it as Larry, man. I got to tell you. So, what happened is, so now I have a list of movies, okay? We have no one in this studio, Adnan, knows whether or not Mina has seen these movies.
I've seen all of them.
Perfect. I am the human movie lie detector. I love this.
That's why we stepped it up a notch, because, you know, if she can get it past you, she can get it past anyone.
It's been a while. These movies are old, and it's been a long time since I've seen some. I've seen all of them, but it's been a while.
All right, so I have the list in front of me, Adnan. I'm going to read the list to you. You choose the movie you want her to review, and then we will all decide together whether or not, based on that information, whether or not she's actually seen the movie. You ready?
I want to preface, Stu, by saying this is either going to be a runaway hit or a disaster, but I'm in either way.
We've done it once, and it was a runaway hit, so that's all. If it's a disaster, it's on you. Okay?
Totally fair.
All right, here we go. Here's the list to choose from. It, Mother, Tango and Cash, RoboCop, Face Off, 300, Waterworld, Hell or High Water, Mad Max, or Air Bud. Choose one, Adnan.
Face Off.
All right,
Favorite
Face Off.
Come on.
and Mike Ryan.
All right.
Everybody's seen Face Off. So Face Off, Travolta, Cage. In the beginning of the movie, Cage, who's the cop, he kills his brother, Travolta's brother. Travolta later on traps him as revenge, and Cage traps him later. It's confusing because they switch faces.
Face Off, yes.
They switch faces. Then Cage as Travolta lives as Travolta. I think he maybe has sex with his wife at some point. Then they switch. He takes his face, and then there's a shootout at the end. It's a really good movie.
All right, so Guillermo, did Mina Kimes see Face Off?
She saw Face Off.
Okay, Fat Chris, did Mina Kimes see Face Off?
No.
Roy, has Mina Kimes seen Face Off?
No.
I'm going to go yes on Face Off. Adnan, go ahead.
I think because she knows that he had sex with his wife, I'm going to say yes.
I have seen Face Off.
Oh, wow. Excellent.
It's a John Woo, right? I love those.
John Woo,
Yeah.
yeah.
The Rock.
Boyle, the killer.
All right,
Yeah.
so
My countryman.
all right, so Face Off's off the list. Adnan, I'm going to give you a couple movies here. Tango and Cash, RoboCop, Hell or High Water. Pick from one of those three.
Hell or High Water.
All right, go ahead, Mina.
It's a recent Oscar contender.
She hasn't
Chris
seen it.
Pine is.
Well, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. How did you know so quickly? How?
I can tell by the hesitation. She's lying, but go ahead, Mina. Do your best.
All right, go ahead.
Chris Pine's in it. It's these brothers who are outlaws. They rob banks. One of them dies. One of them lives, gets away with it to the end. Chris Pine gets away with it.
All right, Roy, has Mina Kimes seen Hell or High Water?
No.
Guillermo?
She has not.
Fat Chris?
Nope.
Adnan already says no. I'm going to say yes.
Who's seen Hell or High Water? Nobody. Nobody has seen that. No one's seen that movie.
Adnan, how'd you know so quickly, man?
I know, it was amazing.
What's her tell?
Jeff Bridges is the best part of that. Jeff Bridges is the best part of that movie. The first words out of her mouth should have been, Jeff Bridges is unbelievable. He plays the sheriff chasing his brothers. Nobody cares about the brothers. Bridges is the best. The fact she didn't lead with him, that's how I knew.
All right. I mean, Jeff,
by the way, Bridges, friend of the show. He was great with you guys.
yeah, he was fantastic. But Bridges is always the best part of any movie he's in, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that guy. I love the fact you and Dan kept trying to ask him about other movies. He just kept hyping up his own movie, the new one.
Yes, exactly.
Never going to see that.
All right, here we go, Adnan. Tango and Cash. You know what? I'm going to choose this one. Tango and Cash. Go ahead, Mina.
Oh, this came out a long time ago. I saw it when my mom rented it from the library. So I actually do remember it's a buddy comedy. It's like kind of weird because it's like kind of a comedy, but kind of not. These two cops are in prison. They get out of prison. One of the cops dates the other cop's sister. The villain who tries to kill him in prison, it all culminates in a showdown at the end.
All right, Roy, has Mina Kimes seen Tango and Cash?
No.
Guillermo, has Mina Kimes seen Tango and Cash?
No.
Fat Chris?
That library detail doesn't fool anyone. She hasn't seen it.
I'm going to say that she has seen Tango and Cash. Adnan?
Has not seen it.
I don't even know. The Tango and what? Cash? Is that the names of the...
Tango and Cash,
I thought
yes.
those
Why
were...
the hell? Hey, wait a minute. Hold on a second. I'm dying sick here, and Adnan is on the show. Why is Adnan on the show? Get Adnan the hell on the show. Go to commercial break right now. Adnan's not allowed on the damn show. I'm dying over
Don Lebatard.
I feel terrible.
Here's the thing with you. You don't actually feel terrible.
I didn't feel a thing, to be honest with you. I don't really care.
I know. You announcing I feel terrible is just your way to move on to the next terrible thing you're going to do.
Stugats.
They're just words, and words mean nothing
They
to
don't
you.
mean nothing. His words mean nothing.
Words are just transitions to your next lie.
That's so right. They're not words. They are bridges to lies.
This is the Don Lebatard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
Dan is out today. Mike Ryan out as well. We're having fun. Mina Kimes sitting in the entire show. Our thanks to Adnan Burke and Levitar calling in last segment. That was gold. Our thanks to Adrian Wojnarowski as well. Adam Schefter, basketball expert, coming up in 15 minutes. He'll take your NBA calls. We started this last week. We had Schefter on. We asked him all the obligatory, coaching questions and all that stuff, and he seemed bored by it because he's a robot. Because that's all anyone asks Schefter. Not just at ESPN, just anywhere he goes.
I just thought of something. Let's ask him my question that I posed to you over the break. Would you rather have a 7'5" guy to block field goals or a 4'5" guy to squirt through the pile?
Done.
In short yardage.
Done.
I hope he's not listening because I don't want him to have time to think about it.
Right, exactly.
And to cancel.
But then we had because Adam, he has kind of. Right? I don't want to say shifted his focus. He's added to his responsibilities where he's the, leading NFL guy along with Mort at the network. But he also covers some NBA. And then we decided, wow, Adam sounds bored talking NFL. Let's bring him back and talk some NBA. And the phone lines lit up and people were asking questions and Adam was delightfully answering those questions, had a blast, and he wants to do it again. So we're going to do it again in about 10 minutes. If you have a coaching question, Mina, because I know you're into this stuff, you can get those in on the front end. It's fine.
I do. It's the 7'5" versus I do have a coaching question.
Okay.
I mean,
right.
It's pretty serious.
Okay. No,
question.
I'm excited.
You didn't answer it.
I'm not going to answer it. I want to hear Schefter's response.
And then you're going to
yes.
argue with him or?
No, probably just steal it and move forward with it. Yeah. So Dan is out, Mike is out. They both have the flu. Allison has Allison who started. Oof. She started everything. She's the reason that everyone here.
Patient zero.
If you're watching on ESPNU, the guys are wearing surgical masks. Dan is sick. Cody's sick. Mike Ryan's sick. Mina's gonna get sick. I'm sick. I got the flu shot yesterday. I am all hopped up on medication today. Afrin and Tamiflu. But this all started with Allison. But Billy tells me during the break that perhaps it didn't start with Allison.
Oh, my God.
I know. What is going on here?
Nothing started with me because I haven't seen you guys in like 15 days. So none of this is coming from me.
You were out the entire week last week.
Right, but you didn't get it because I wasn't here.
Well, she did send us a bag of things for the megacast that we think were infected, and that's how the disease spread.
Like a smallpox blanket, she threw it at you.
Exactly.
Oh.
And she's a bit of a spiteful person, so I don't put it above her to like lick things or sneeze on things to get us sick.
Biggest instigator, the worst person ever.
Wait, but how can we argue simultaneously that she got everyone sick and also faked it?
Well, that's the thing. There was a new development today. So we were talking before the show on the phone to kind of go over what we were going to do today and what was going on just to get on the same page. And she, out of nowhere, goes, "Are there side effects if you give up caffeine?" And I'm like,
what?
Yeah, like you'll probably get headaches. Like your body, you're going through like a detox if you stop giving up caffeine. So then she starts looking up the side effects,
right,
and quickly realizes that it's everything that she went through last week. And then she says, "You know what? I never was sneezing or anything last week."
Wait, but you have to understand something. Listen, you have to understand. I stopped the caffeine like 3 days into the flu symptoms. So I don't think that the lack of caffeine was the reason, because it started 3 days before. I just didn't have coffee or any caffeine while I was sick.
While she's reading the symptoms of, this detox from caffeine, it's like a checklist of everything she was complaining about. Dizziness.
I mean, it was irritability.
Very tired.
So what you thought was the flu were really just the side effects from quitting caffeine?
She took a week off and she stopped drinking coffee.
No, that's what I'm saying. No, that's not what happened.
And wasn't her worst day the third day?
Yes. Was she ever sick?
Oh.
That's what I want to know.
She looks fine to me.
Some grand master plan. All of a sudden, no one thinks Stugatz is sick, but was I not sick?
I don't know why you guys don't think I'm sick. The only reason I sound the way I sound, which I sound completely healthy right now, is because of the Afrin. I mean, that stuff is magical.
Wait, you've been talking about being sick like all morning.
Right,
Why do we think you're sick? Because you literally said you were sick.
No, but they don't believe that I'm sick.
I give you more credit now because you're actually somewhat sick. Allison just stopped drinking coffee and stopped coming to work.
Right, has a headache. Right. She missed a week.
Take an Advil.
Wait, I mean, she missed a week because she quit coffee.
Diva.
You guys wouldn't let me in the studio. So
what a diva.
Well, because we thought you had the flu. Not because you quit coffee. That's not contagious.
How you feeling now? Great.
Why don't you look in the mirror? How do you feel? Do you feel pretty bad?
I feel terrible. I'm telling you, the only reason I sound like this, Afrin's the devil, by the way.
Mm.
I mean, it is. It's when Art Briles puts up his nose.
So dumb.
Is it magical or is it the devil? Make up your mind.
It's a magical devil. I'm telling you. It's the nose spray of choice for Art Briles. He should endorse them. Because what Afrin does is, it will make it, like, if you're all clouded up and all stuffed up, couple of shots of Afrin in the nostril, and you're cleared up in like 5 seconds. But then what happens, I'm telling you, 2:30 is going to come around, I'll be more stuffed up than I was before I took the Afrin.
It's like the chiropractor.
Exactly right. Scam.
Everybody here is lying about being sick.
Yeah.
Except for Dan.
He's actually sick. Yes.
He's actually sick.
How do you feel?
I'm worried that I was worried about getting sick by the contagion effect, but now that I know everybody's lying, I feel like this is a...
Keep it locked to the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Winning at sports and at sports broadcasting means changing things up.
Just like La Quinta Inns and Suites is changing up their look.
A renovated lobby that's so contemporary it even makes Golick look cool.
Yes, it does. And a totally updated fitness center that even has Wingo feeling like a workout.
I'm ripped. Plus plenty of comfortable spaces to hang out.
Yep, this La Quinta look definitely has a vibe of victory.
So you can just relax, refresh, and get ready for your next big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
Dan Le Batard.
He is now eating it out of my hand like a grazing animal of some sort. Oh, he is showing love. Oh, eat the picture. Yes.
Swallow.
No, he's not going to swallow that.
Stugats.
What just happened there?
I finished.
You just threw out a slobbered piece of my face on the floor.
That was just a slobbered piece.
I got a weak stomach, man.
Tear me off half of that, Stu. I want to get involved.
Oh, no.
There's no way
you
can
I'm
do
kidding.
It. The fact that you're holding
I think I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. If he eats that piece of
I already ate the piece of bacon.
If he eats it, I will vomit.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
Oh.
Sports Center, Mina.
ESPN Radio is presented by... You put it under some other papers to trick me.
By the way, you have missed the hard net workout twice. You're 2 for 2 today. And there's someone on Twitter who does a Greg Cody clock count. Got to be careful with that, all of that.
This is bullying.
Clock count is what I said. You're 2 for 2 right now.
Yeah. I'm still getting sunk up.
Sunk up.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And now your Sports Center update. Pac-12 referee Chris Coity and his crew have been the target of threats and harassment by Kentucky fans after the Wildcats' 24-23 loss to Northwestern in the Music City Bowl. Pirates infielder Josh Harrison, in response to Pittsburgh's recent trades of Andrew McCutchen and Garrett Cole, said he would prefer to be traded if the organization intends to enter a rebuilding phase. And finally, Starz announced a John Wick TV series. Ooh. Though he's confirmed as an executive producer, Keanu Reeves won't take the lead in the potential series. Instead, The Hollywood Reporter reports that he'll make an appearance but won't star, as the project exists side by side with the feature universe. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
All right, Adam Schefter, NBA expert, going to join us here on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. He'll take your phone calls. NBA questions only, 786-456-4837. We'll ask the obligatory NFL questions. For you guys, for the callers, you can only ask NBA questions of Adam Schefter. 786-456-4837. We're going to mow through calls. And what that means is you have to ask your questions fast, and Adam needs to answer them faster. Okay? Does that make sense? But Mina, you want to start with the football question? You had something on Mike Tomlin?
Yeah. Adam, Mike Tomlin's obviously in the news today. People are asking questions. I guess some of the fans think he shouldn't be that coach anymore. I personally think that's kind of preposterous, but I was wondering what you thought.
he's not going anywhere. They're not making a change. Mike Tomlin is going to be the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, some of the decisions, some of the things they have to work on are obvious to people, but the fact of the matter is, it's not the Cleveland Browns. They don't change coaches in Pittsburgh every few years. They do it every couple of decades. And so Mike Tomlin, again, you want to get rid of him? Who are you bringing in that's more appealing than Mike Tomlin right now, who's better than Mike Tomlin right now on an organization that doesn't change coaches? Not happening,
With all that said, though, the play calling in that game was awful, Adam. It just was. I know that's not your job to give opinions on the play calling,
but hold on. Listen, Mike Tomlin's the head coach, so it comes back to him. But he's not calling the plays.
I understand.
He's not calling the plays. Okay, that's other people. And again, the bigger issue that I have with that team is Mike Tomlin sitting at home talking about the Patriots, Mike Mitchell talking about the Patriots, Le'Veon Bell night before tweeting about the Patriots. Hey, you're playing the Jaguars,
right.
and they embarrassed you early in the year in Pittsburgh. How about showing them some respect? And you can talk about New England all you want once you win that game, but until you win that game, to me, New England should not be mentioned. That's me.
All right, Adam. You're a GM. You have to spend your 53rd spot on one of the two kind of guys: a 7'5" guy solely to block field goals, or a 4'5" guy who's blazing fast who can squirt through the pile.
That's a good question.
His name is Squirtle.
4'5" speed kills. Speed in the NFL is invaluable, and even that 7'5" guy, he could jump straight up, but the kick could be to the left or right of him.
Oh,
so
wow! Wow!
That's why he's the best in the business, Mina.
So glad I am.
That's why he's good. And you're good, Schefter. You are good. You are good.
I did not even think of that.
Adam, real quick, before we get to these NBA calls, we have thousands of them. Seriously, people are lined up to talk to you.
I love that.
I know. That's why we're bringing you on every week to do this. The audience loves it. You love it. You love this, right? The NBA calls more than you love the NFL stuff, don't you?
Well, no, the NFL is my job.
Right.
And I love my job, but I've been doing my job for 28 years.
Right.
And the NBA is my professional vacation.
Little variety.
Exactly.
All right, so Adam, real quick. I found this interesting, man, and I found it to be wrong, to be quite honest with you. What the Titans did with Mike Mularkey, where after he wins that first playoff game, they essentially guaranteed him an extension. They told him before the next game they'd get it done after the game. He loses that game to the Patriots, and then they fire Mike Mularkey. Two questions. Is that common? Is stuff like that common in the NFL? And did the Titans do that knowing they had Josh McDaniels signed to a contract?
Well, that's not what happened. That's not what happened.
All right.
All they did was they released a statement that said, Mike Mularkey is our coach, and he's our coach moving forward. They didn't say we're giving him an extension.
Right.
They didn't guarantee him an extension. There was a report of him getting an extension.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
All that consisted of was one conversation that week prior to the New England game. Now, on Sunday, after the loss, in a year where Marcus Mariota has regressed again, Mike Mularkey comes out and says, I'm not changing any coaches, and I'm not going to change any coaches. Now, if you're the Titans, and there are questions about whether or not you're going to keep the head coach, and you've got a situation here where the staff is going to remain intact, and you're not going to get somebody in there to work with Marcus Mariota, where his numbers in every tangible category have declined in each of his first 3 years in the NFL, we got an issue. And there was an issue to begin with. And so they were giving him the softest endorsement possible when they said that he's our coach and he's our coach. They never said we're giving him an extension. They never said we're guaranteeing him. It was, hey, let me tell you something. I got a call Sunday during the day Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
You need to watch Tennessee. They're discussing getting rid of Mularkey right now. Okay? So I'm just telling you, the extension talk
I got it.
Never was going anywhere. Never.
All right. You sound bored. Moving on.
Time to mow through some colors. Mow. Colors. We're going to mow through those colors like there is nobody business. Mow your boat. That doesn't make sense. Mowing through colors, buddy.
NBA questions only. You ask them fast, and Schefter will answer them faster. How about that? Let's go to Sid. Sid, go ahead. You're on with Adam Schefter, NBA expert.
Coach of the year, who you got?
Coach of the year, who you got?
Ooh, Coach of the year right now. Oh, Right now, Brett Stevens.
All right, Jonathan, go ahead. Mo!
Is Jason Kidd the problem in Milwaukee?
Listen, I don't know. They got some young talent. Takes some time to get together. I don't know if these are the problem just yet. I'm not ready to go there.
Ryan, go ahead. Fast.
What would you do to fix the Magic?
Boy, that's unbelievable. And they've got some issues. I think I trade Vucevic right now, and I go with Biyombo moving forward. Get what I could for Vucevic, a veteran like him. They got some parts there that have some value, and it's time to start rebuilding.
Kevin, go ahead. Faster.
Will the Bulls make the playoffs?
Ooh.
I like the Bulls. I think they got a chance to eke it out. I'll say yes.
Ty, go ahead. Mo.
You got the most All-Star votes. Who are you choosing first?
I think, Kevin Durant. How about that?
That's a pretty good choice. Let's go to Wayne. Wayne, go ahead. Mo.
When are the Kings going to make the playoffs again?
The Sacramento Kings will make the playoffs sometime in about 2023.
Let's go to Mason. Mason, go ahead. You're on with Adam Schefter, ESPN's NBA expert. Mo!
How much longer will the Spurs be around?
The Spurs?
Yes.
They're not going anywhere. They're like the Patriots. They never fade.
All right, let's go to Nate. Nate, go ahead. You're on with Adam Schefter.
Are the Cavs going to move that number one pick to bring in another superstar?
I don't see them doing that. Like, that's a valuable pick for the future, particularly if LeBron's leaving. You got to hold on to that pick. That's a valuable commodity. And they should be able to win with what they've got right now.
Unless, quick follow-up to that, unless LeBron gave them some sort of assurance that he would stay there long term. Then you use it, right, Adam?
But he's not doing that.
Exactly right. You are good. You are good. Let's go to Paul. Paul, go ahead. Mo, fast. Go. Mo, go.
Kristaps Porzingis, question mark?
What about him? I mean, listen, that's the future in New York. It was a great pick. The Knicks got maligned for that pick. It was the right pick. That's Phil Jackson's lasting legacy.
Reed, Mo. Reed.
What do the Hornets need to do to win?
What do the Hornets need to do to win?
That's a tough one. I mean, they got some talent there. That's not it. Kemba Walker, Nicholas Batum, Dwight Howard, Michael Kidd. They should be winning more than they are. I don't have the answer to that. I'm not that good.
Let's go to Jake. Jake, go ahead. You're on with Adam Schefter. Mo.
Will New Jersey ever get another Will New Jersey ever get another team?
Will New Jersey ever get another team?
Who's holding their breath for a team in New Jersey right now?
First one didn't work very well. Let's go to Drew. Drew, go ahead. You're on with Adam Schefter.
Hockey-style fights in basketball. Go.
What was
Hockey style fights in basketball. Go.
Yeah, haymakers from Aaron and Fowler. We love that. We got confrontations in the Clippers locker room. Trevor Ariza getting after it. I mean, this is getting Jeff Galooly-ish right now.
Let's go to Charlie. Charlie, you're on with Adam Schefter. Go.
Stu guys, don't yell at me. Will the Knicks make the playoffs?
No! No! Adam, I got this. Adam, I got this. No! All right,
okay, can I add on?
Yes.
I don't have faith. I don't have faith in them making the playoffs.
Why would we? Let's go to, why would anyone? Let's go to Brett. Brett, go ahead. Mo. Brett.
Brett's
a no-show.
All right, let's go to James. James, Mo. James, go ahead. James,
Cavs Celtics, Game 7. Who you got?
Cavs Celtics, Game 7. Who you got, Schefter?
I'm not picking against LeBron as much as I have mad respect for Boston.
All right, Chris, go ahead. Adam Schefter, Mo, go.
Slam dunk.
Slam dunk what?
Dunk, what's the question there, Stu Gutz?
Slam dunk contest. Would you like to see any changes to it?
I'm good with that. I haven't put a lot of thought to the slam dunk contest.
Really? You didn't love the days when it was Dominique, Jordan, all those guys doing it? Like, don't you want to see just one time LeBron, Paul George, Russell Westbrook, all these guys?
All right, listen. Back in the day when Spud Webb was winning it, it was honestly a spectacle. I just haven't really paid much attention. Maybe that's just me growing up. I don't know. I'm curious to see if my kids would like it if I had them watch it this year. And I will.
All right. You are the best. I believe some big NFL news broke while you were fooling around with us. Meaning, did something happen with Todd Haley?
There's a tweet from Rappaport. It just says sources, Steelers are allowing OC Todd Haley to walk now that he is out of his contract. Pittsburgh expected to have a new offensive coordinator.
What do you make of that, Adam?
It was expected. They, again, were planning to move on from Todd Haley. I think that Randy Fichtner, the quarterback's coach, would be there. I think he was going to be the guy that was targeted for the OC position all along.
Adam, do you think he gets hired somewhere else?
Oh, yeah, no, there'll be work for him because there are a shortage of play callers in this league, and that's sort of how it works.
Wait, can I ask you a question? Did Rappaport just scoop you while you were playing around with us?
Well, if that's the case, yeah.
We're sorry. I'm sorry, man.
Way it goes.
The world needed that 7
Did you enjoy what you just did more than breaking that story for ESPN? Yes or no?
I always would prefer to break a story than answer NBA questions, but I love it. I love answering NBA questions. Truly.
You are. I mean, we have 1,000 more calls on the board. Do you need to attend to this Haley thing, or you want to take calls?
Let's take more calls.
Yes.
Keep it going,
yes.
Roy. Roy wants to keep it going. He wants to. Do we have to
Love
break,
it.
Roy? All right, we have to break.
Listen.
Yes.
Listen. I'm into the speed, but I feel like you're putting so much pressure on these callers.
Okay, you're right.
That's true.
You're right.
That we got to let it breathe a little. Listen, we want to move rapid fire.
Okay.
It's like I can't even breathe.
You're right. I'm going to do it better next. I promise. I'm going to slow down, and I'm going to give everyone room to breathe next. I promise you, okay? And by the way, Mike Tomlin was just fired, too. I made that up.
No.
More. I made that up. Adam Schefter next.
Don Lebatard.
I feel like everything we just did was racially insensitive, and I'm good with it.
Stugats.
It is deadline day.
This is the Don Lebatard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
All right, Adam Schefter continues on with us here on ESPN Radio on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Adam, I promise you, I will slow everything down, okay? I will slow it all down. You good with that?
I like the rapid fire. Again, I don't think it should be suffocating, Stugats. That's all.
Okay, you're right. Dan and I have a tendency to do that. We do. We just want to get as many calls in for you as possible. That's all.
But it's great when
I'd rather get one less call, and give the callers who are getting through the proper amount of time and respect that they deserve.
All right, totally fair. Any NFL news happened during the commercial break that we need to know about, or are we good?
Draymond Green's been ruled out for tonight.
Oh, wow. Look, I mean, this guy.
Ooh.
This guy is amazing. All right, Roy, let's mow through some calls. Give it to me. I haven't done this in a while. All right, let's go out to Brett. Brett, go on. Go ahead. You're on with NBA expert Adam Schefter on ESPN Radio. I just had a stroke. Go ahead.
Hey, Adam, what's up? Standing or sitting wiper?
Standing or sitting lifer? What does that mean?
He's asking when you go to the bathroom, standing or sitting wiper. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Okay, that's okay. Usually I like to sit.
All right. I like to stand. Let's go to Tate. Tate, go ahead. You're on with Adam Schefter.
What's the Lakers starting five look like next season?
Ooh, good question.
Spicy.
Oh, I do think LeBron is going to wind up out there, if I had to guess. It certainly seems that way, right? And then if he goes, then he can bring anyone he wants.
I guess, yeah.
Right? Anybody he wants.
I think a lot depends on this Oklahoma City season. Like, will Paul George want to join LeBron James out there? I think it depends on how far they go in the postseason. But that'd be interesting. Like Lonzo Ball, Ingram, James, George. It's pretty good. Let's go to Wayne. Wayne, go ahead. You're on with NBA expert Adam Schefter. Go ahead.
Who is more injury prone, Derrick Rose or Chris Webber?
Derrick Rose.
Yep.
Chris Webber, I don't think he's on that level with Derrick Rose.
No, I don't think anyone's on that level with Derrick Rose. Let's go to Erwin. Erwin, go ahead. You're on ESPN Radio.
Are the Miami Heat for real?
Good question.
Yeah, it's a good team. They just continue to struggle. Listen, can they take that big step that they need to supplant a team like Boston or Cleveland or Washington? I don't think they could do that, but they're a tough, gritty, competitive team that gets everything that they can out of their talent.
All right, Ty, go ahead. We're mowing through calls with Adam Schefter. Go ahead, Ty.
Hey, Shefty, who do you think the Cavs will pick up when LeBron leaves in the summer?
They've been there before, and it didn't work out very well. And frankly, I don't know who they pick up that can replace. There's nobody that they can do. They got to go use that draft pick and just keep their fingers crossed. That's a big problem.
If free agents aren't going there for LeBron James, they're not going there for anyone, Adam.
It's a big problem.
Yes.
That's why you got to lean on that draft pick, and that's why you don't trade that pick now.
100%. Let's go to Danson. Danson, go ahead.
Adam, what's it going to take for the Miami Heat to get back into championship contention?
Listen, again, props to the Heat for what they've done this season. I just don't see them at that level, but they're a good team. I just don't see them there.
That's because they're not there yet. Let's go to Derek. Derek, go ahead.
40 games into the season, who's your MVP candidate right now?
MVP, 40 games in.
Oh, LeBron's playing better than anybody. I know they haven't won, but I'm not picking against that guy.
I'm with you. Let's go to Thomas. Thomas, go ahead.
Make it pretty.
What was that, Thomas? Say it again.
Do the Nets make a trade?
Do the Nets make a trade, Adam?
What are they trading? I mean, they could trade anything they want, right?
Yeah. So the answer is no on that.
Well, no. Have they made one right now? No. Can they make one? Yes. Anybody on that team, the Nets, should be for sale, right?
100%, yes. Except for D'Angelo Russell.
To me, anyone's for sale on that team.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I apologize. You're the NBA expert. I should not weigh in with my opinion.
Thank you for the proper respect there.
I am sorry. Let's go to let's go to Reed. Reed, go ahead. You're on with Adam Schefter, ESPN's NBA expert.
Better NBA, better NHL enforcer as an NBA player, Draymond Green or Boban?
That's a great question.
Draymond Green or who?
Boban.
Or who?
Boban Marjanovic or something like that.
Oh, Boban. Oh, yeah. I'm taking Draymond. Draymond's got Flint in him. No, Draymond.
All right. Quickly here, guys. Not you, Adam. Just them. Buck, go ahead. Buck, I said, Roy. Buck.
Will the Lakers ever make the playoffs with Lonzo Ball?
Yeah, of course they're going to make the playoffs at some point in time. It'll take a little time, but they'll make it.
Let's go to Travis. Travis, go ahead.
Travis, what do you got?
Go.
Well, will IT make it in Cleveland?
Will IT make it in Cleveland? Isaiah Thomas, will he make it in Cleveland?
Well, look, you played very strong the other night. I think you got to give it a little bit of time here. And I think, yes, before the season's through, I think that team turns around. I know there's bad feelings and whatnot. Just too much talent there to think that it won't work somehow.
Josh, go ahead.
How many rings does Kevin Durant have in your personal record book?
Well, right now he's got one, right?
Yeah.
Or two, one.
Yeah, he's got one.
And he'll have more. He'll have more. He'll get more.
Right. I don't count that one because he couldn't beat the team, so he joined.
No. He has a ring.
No, he doesn't.
He's got the ring.
I'm sorry, he doesn't.
Okay, fine.
I mean, he couldn't beat the team, so he joined the team to win his ring, and to me, that doesn't count.
Okay, so you're gonna say that to Deion Sanders for going to the Niners and the Cowboys when he did, when they were good teams already?
In my personal record book, he does not have a ring. Yes.
Okay, well, I think he does.
Okay, Eric, go ahead quickly. Go ahead, Eric.
Who would you take, Michael Jordan or LeBron James in their prime?
Ooh.
By the way, who would have thought that LeBron James would be in his prime right now?
I know.
At the tail end of his career like this.
Yes.
I mean, you watch him now, he's unbelievable. I'll say this, the fact that we're even talking about LeBron in the same way as we did Michael, that in and of itself, we don't have to give an answer because those two guys are so gifted and so unbelievable that they belong together like that. In the same sense, that's the highest compliment you get to somebody anyway.
Schefter, this was delightful, man. Did I slow it down good enough for you in that second segment?
Yeah, you know what? I got to tell you something. I think I like it better with the pressure on the callers.
There you go.
Let's get back to that.
Will you make up your mind? I thought I was just trying to tell you, man. Listen, you know the NBA and you know the NFL and you're a journalist and you know reporting. I know radio, man. This is all I know in my life.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And listen, I even have a handle on producing, and I know what works. I usually have an idea of what works and what doesn't work. And I got to say, Stuart, the pressure on, the panic, the suffocation, that's good radio right there. You're right. Back to that the next time.
All right. We love you.
On the next edition of ESPN NBA expert Adam Schefter taking your calls.
All right. We love you. You are the best, man. Thank you for the time. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Chris Sims joins us next to tell us how bad Blake Bortles is.
Dan Lebatard.
Yanni Adebabubu.
Stugats.
Giannis Adebabumbumbo.
This is the Dan Lebatard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
All right, Chris Sims, Bleacher Report, going to join us here in just a second. Actually, right now on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, we are at number 45. Yesterday, he told us that E.J. Manuel was his 46th best quarterback in the NFL. Blake Bortles, who was playing for a right to go to the Super Bowl this weekend, is number 70 on the list. And Chris Sims, who has been great with us for a couple of weeks now, joins us here on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Chris, what's going on, man?
What's up, man? How are you? You doing okay? You holding down the fort without Dan?
Holding down the fort, man. I got Mina helping me out, so we're holding down the fort, my man.
What's up, Mina? How you doing?
Hey, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing well. Just, another day of a 12:30 phone call into Le Batard and Stugatz. Ho-hum.
I think you enjoy it, though, man. I think you're enjoying it.
I do enjoy it. I mean, I'm at the Bleacher Report office right now. I'm usually here. I'm watching film right now, and it gives me a little break to come on and act like an idiot for a few minutes.
There you go.
Grind and tape. Hey, I want to ask you something about a theory that I put forward earlier today, which is that the Jaguars' offense is Bill Belichick's worst nightmare because it's so dumb he can't outsmart it. And he has to watch tape of Blake Bortles, which is going to destroy his brain.
Well, there is some truth to that, and I'll say this much. First of all, you're right. There's not a whole lot to figure out with Jacksonville's offense. It's pretty simple. They want to really just line up and bludgeon you to death with their size up front and their run game. So schemes are hard to stop that at times. It comes down to just, hey, can we get enough guys in there? Can we be strong enough and tough enough just to stop that? And then you're also right with when it comes to the passing scheme. Teams like this, when they're so simple offensively in the pass scheme, you go into a game, especially somebody as smart as Bill Belichick, and he goes, man, I got a good feel for it. They like to do this in this formation, and they like to do this on 2nd and 5 and all those things, and you coach up your team on all those. And Jacksonville might go, man, we've been so obvious with this stuff at times. Maybe this is the week we trick it up or do a double move or whatever it may be. So, yes, those are little dangers you fall into when you have a really brilliant coach breaking down a offensive scheme that's not necessarily reinventing the wheel.
What are you laughing at, Mina?
I'm just happy he agrees with me.
She's so happy you agree with us. She's so happy. But the overall message from Belichick is, hey, guys, stop Fournette, make Blake Bortles beat us on the road for the right to go to the Super Bowl.
I think so, yes. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious. At the end of the day, I mean, again, look at last week. I know everybody wants to say, oh, Chris, you were wrong. Like I said yesterday, the game was 28-7 with a defensive touchdown and then an interception that led to an 18-yard run the very next play for a Leonard Fournette touchdown, and the game was 28-7, right?
Yep.
Jaguars winning, and he was 7 for 14 with 83 yards. So, yeah, and New England has the defensive guys, right? They have a Butler and a Stephon Gilmore and a Devin McCourty in the back end who the Patriots put a ton of pressure on. They are the key to that defense. They're going to tell them, play man-to-man, and we're going to put a few extra guys in the box to stop Leonard Fournette.
Who were you watching tape on just now before we bothered you?
I'm breaking down the Eagles and Falcons right now, doing a little bit of a deep dive there.
And what are you seeing? Anything you'd share with us yet?
Well, yeah, certainly. I mean, I picked the Eagles to win the game last week. I'm patting myself on the back there. But because really the thing that impresses me about the Eagles is just their size of their football team. They are one of the biggest teams in the sport. And, yeah, it might not be pretty, but they can just physically overpower teams. And I'll be interested to see that matchup with Minnesota this week. I think that game's going to be a very close football game, up in Philadelphia, northeast weather, on a grass field. That favors the bigger, more physical team, and I do think Philadelphia is that by a hair, but they are a little hamstrung at the quarterback position as well.
Yeah, Chris, I want to talk about that because I agree with you about Bortles getting a little too much credit for last week, but I think the same is true of Nick Foles. I mean, he didn't really do anything. It was the simplest...
Well, yeah, play Matt Ryan, though.
It was the simplest game plan imaginable. I mean, it was just all screen, RPO, screen. How can he actually pull that off against Minnesota?
Yeah, well, I think they have to kind of do the same type of thing. They got to make it an ugly football game. The strength of Philadelphia, like I said to you, is their size. So when they run the ball downhill with the Jaye and LeGarrette Blount and continue to do that, teams do get scared and go, wow, they're so big, they can move us out of the way. We need to get another guy in the box, and that leads to very easy passing game looks. Yes, Nick Foles did not do anything special in that game, but he hit the wide open receivers, he managed the game properly, and that's all he had to do. Again, I said this yesterday to Stugatz. We have put the quarterback on such a pedestal in the NFL right now, and it's still a team sport. In fact, I've been told my whole life it's the ultimate team sport. So if you have a good team around even just an average quarterback, you can do some things and beat some football teams, and this year is the most proof we've seen in recent history.
Did you deep dive the Steeler-Jaguar game yet or no?
Oh, yeah, deep dive. Yes, definitely.
Because, Mina, it's very interesting what's going on. Steeler fans want Tomlin to leave. Todd Haley just actually left. He's no longer the offensive coordinator, and he doesn't deserve to be after those 4th and short calls. Listen, Tomlin deserves to be there for as long as he wants to be there. I believe that, but I do understand Steeler fans. Did you see any of this? There were some horrific calls by Tomlin and that coaching staff in the final couple of minutes of that game.
Yeah, there definitely was, yes. I mean, the fourth down calls, I mean, trying to run on the edge, when they didn't make it against the fastest defense in football. I mean, negative Ghost Rider. That ain't going to happen. So that was dumb, right?
Yep.
And then, of course, the biggest thing is just the onside kick at the end of the football game. 2 timeouts left, 2:18 left on the clock. Why wouldn't you punt the ball down there, put the pressure on Jacksonville one more time to try to get a first down? Pittsburgh's offense was in a pretty good rhythm at that point. But, at the end of the day, yes, did Pittsburgh have a chance to get back in the game? Certainly, but I have no doubt coming away from watching that film and going, Jacksonville, like I've been saying, and how this all started, they're the most talented team in the sport. And if it isn't for Big Ben making 2 miraculous, unbelievable throws on fourth down, that game was in trouble of going like 45-7 or 45-14. So, let's not lose sight of that as well. But Tomlin, I'm with you, Stugotz. He gets a lot of criticism. This is a guy that, hey, it's not easy going into Pittsburgh and going into a place where they go, we expect to be in the Super Bowl or in that conversation yearly. He's handled that very easily. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He won one of them. Yes, is he aggressive? Certainly. And has he made some dumb mistakes? Yes, I do think so. But it's also what makes Pittsburgh so good is they are fearless and they're never intimidated. Oh, it's 4th and 5, screw you. We're going to throw it and, see if you can stop us. So you got to kind of, if you're going to live that way, you're going to die that way sometimes as well.
All right, time for number 45. Who you got? Yesterday, E.J. Manuel was number 46. Chase Daniel, number 47. The 45th best quarterback in the NFL, according to Chris Sims, is
Blaine Gabbert, Arizona Cardinals.
Wow. What I used to say about Blaine Gabbert is he's not terrible. That's what I used to say about him. It's a compliment.
Well, he's not terrible. I mean, I feel bad for the guy in a lot of ways. I mean, he went to Jacksonville there early in his career. They were a horrible football team at that point. He got, just absolutely beat to crap at his time there. He does have physical ability. Even you saw some of that this year with Arizona. Hey, Blaine Gabbert did beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. He made some big time throws down the field to win that game, if people remember that.
Yeah.
So there's some admirable, traits there with Blaine Gabbert as a prospect, as a quarterback.
All right, get back to work. Oh, sorry about that, Roy, with the sound there. Get back to work. Go back to your film session. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 12:30.
Sounds good. Talk to you tomorrow at 12:30. Groundhog Day. See you then.
44 days to go. See you, Chris.
Bye. Be good.
You can listen to the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz 10 to 1 Eastern on ESPN Radio, and you can watch on ESPNU.